Welcome, Anime Lily fans. How you guys doing? This is LegendDVash, and we're about to start our Shonen Ronin show, episode 35, where we're covering My Hero Academia, Black Clover, and an announcement about that. And Undead Unluck, there's no JJK today. And what else other series we'll be talking about on today's weekly Shonen Jump issue 15? We'll see, discuss, and see. So let's talk about and see what we'll be breaking down first. And who's with me here today is the prince himself, the son of dark side. How you doing, Abe? It's been a while.
Yes, it has. What's good? What's good, everybody? Good morning. Happy Sunday. Happy daylight saving time. For all those who are working today, hopefully you didn't get caught up. For all those who are off today, hopefully you got enough sleep despite the time change and you have a pretty chill day. Um, but yeah, we cool and we grinding. Glad to be here. Uh, Especially when it comes to talking about manga, something that we both love, and the whole crew of anime lately loves itself. So thanks for having me.
Of course, Abe. It's always a pleasure to have you and glad to have you back. It's been a while. So, without a further ado, let's give the quick announcement that most people are wondering. And if you don't follow us on Twitter on the Anime Lately main account, you should, because we did ask a question there a couple of days ago that the crew has been feeling like we should swap out Black Clover, the manga coverage. As a weekly or bi-weekly or as a review structure, it doesn't go well. As a team way to break it down, the whole series, it doesn't feel like it's time productive to always break down Black Crow. When sometimes it's just a lot of fight chapters and a lot of hype moments, but it's not something that you could break down like GGK or like My Hero or like Undead Unluck with the rules and other stuff that going on in those series. So today will be the last time we'll be covering Black Clover as of now. For this last chapter that we will be covering 326, I believe, will be the last one we'll be covering today. So some options to cover is Sakamoto Days, Elusive Samurai, Mission Joseph Family, and Ayashimon. Those are the ones that a lot of people have discussed and I've seen on timeline that people want us to talk about. But it's also on you guys to chat what you guys want us to talk about, what series you guys want us to break down. I know Abe gave, I know you gave it to Luxa Samurai. My vote goes to Mission Zakura Family. So if you guys want us to choose one or choose two, it depends on how we feel. But write down in the comment section down below or write in the live chat for sure. Right, Abe?
Or hit
Any
us up
thoughts?
on Twitter or follow us. I mean, just go to Anime Lately on Twitter and let us know if your thoughts. It's no shade to Black Clover. It's just, with the chapters being so short and some chapters not really having movement, don't want to consistently cover something that, we don't always have something to talk about, really. Aside from like, yeah, we like that chapter. It was cool to see that. And we're definitely entering the final phase of Black Clover, so it's ideal for us to just prepare for a new project to cover. So definitely check us out on Twitter. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up in the comment section below. Let us know which shonen mangas, or which shonen mangas in general you would like us to cover. We're open really to anything as long as it's good, you know. So we appreciate all of you guys for rocking with us for so long. And for all the Black Clover fans, don't fret, don't fret. We'll probably do something when it finally concludes because we do have Black Clover fans on this podcast. I am one of them. I am a fan of Black Clover,
Same.
no doubt. But times change. New material needs to get covered, stuff gets rotated out. So definitely check us out. Let us know your thoughts. We appreciate it.
Agree, and I couldn't have not said it better myself. I just put a poll on the community tab because I forgot you could do that. So for the live people that are here right now, go check and vote there right now. So that'd be greatly appreciated. But let's jump into our last coverage of Black Clover chapter 326. How are we feeling about this chapter, Abe? It's been a while since you have talk about Black Clover, and
Yeah.
you just quickly binge it. So, what did you think? That since January, we're almost at the same spot since we left.
Did we because I know I've done one other Shonen Ronin episode this year. Did we talk about Black Clover then?
It was on break that week.
Oh, okay. So I haven't talked about Black Clover in like 4 or 5 months. I've been MIA that long. Um, I've been about 3 or 4 chapters behind recently, and I got caught up. Again, like I said before, it seems like we're entering that final phase. This is the big battle versus Lucifero. We have Yami, we have Notch, we have Asta, we have all fighting. And I mean, there's not really much to say other than I'm curious to see how this all concludes. But even then, it's kind of you can predict, you can hypothesize how it will conclude with, of course, a victory. And the way that Black Clover runs, I can't really expect any major losses, even though this recent chapter ended with both Notch and Yami getting stabbed through like their midsection. But hey, we have healing magic from a couple of people. We have restoration magic, so I ain't really too pressed about them. It wouldn't. I highly doubt Tabitha would be like, "Yo, we kidnapped Yami. He nearly died. We gave him power. He was flooded with new strength. Especially when Notch and Yami comboed up, and Notch said that shadows do breed darkness, or darkness breeds shadows. I forget. I'm switching the
Which
order around.
that was a
That
dope ass line.
was Yeah, it was. I was like, because I mean, it was shadow magic and dark magic. That was actually, I think, was that the title of the chapter? Shadow magic and dark magic? I forget.
That was probably the last
Um,
chapter, but yeah.
yeah, not this week, but the week before, I believe. I don't know. When you binge stuff, it all flows together, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, you know, I'm pleased. I'm pleased to see a conclusion. I always want to. I'm always interested to see how the mangaka decides to end their project. Especially after it's been running for so long. As long as they get to end it on their terms, overall, I'll roll with it. Apologies for my camera turning off. Um, but yeah, so it was a cool chapter. It was enjoyable region, enjoyable binge. Definitely a more enjoyable binge than week to week on it. So
For me, with this chapter, I do gotta give props to the lead cover page. Dope as hell, because that was a nice lead cover page. Nag, Asta, and Playuno look really dope in all their fit right there. Um, the one panel that kind of shocked me is the page 4 and 5 into this chapter, because it was a demon that's just been hanging around the whole time. Actually,
hmm
actually gave a facial expression that she was shocked. So it's like, okay, so they were underestimating these humans, and now that they actually did something, she actually gave a facial expression. Like, will she actually jump in next chapter and do something, or was she just actually shook? Like, oh, just something happened, some excitement. But maybe that's just a one-time thing. But what I'm curious about for next week chapter, next couple of chapters is that's been going on this whole time. As the Implibe did a whole type of movement, like, hey bro, you're not alone. It's us. Let's go together, brother. Let's go and face against our boy Lucifero. And then he stopped the sword and just said like, yo, how dare you kill my partner's mom? So like, that was a dope ending, but at the same time, it's like, that was about it.
yeah, really. So like honestly, to me, and again, it's no disrespect. There are people who eat, breathe, study, Black Clover, and they probably have so much more to say. But for me, it's just like, all right, you know, how are you going to conclude? That's the only major question now. How are you going to conclude? And until we see that, it's just rolling with it, and I'll probably go back to letting chapters build and binge it. Um, but there's really nothing more I can say about Black Clover. Vash, I don't know if there's anything more you can say about Black Clover, but you
I
know,
can't say much other other than what Dylan said in the chat. He said that he has 5 horns now instead of 4 horns. But I'm like, is that really gonna make a difference for him to do something against Lucifero, of him evolving into his Devil Union form more? But his form should be done by now because he could have only done it for 2 minutes. So those 2 minutes should be done by now. But it depends that if he has that fifth horn, does he mean that he just
You
reset it,
mean,
or does he
wait,
have it
who has the fifth horn, Lucifer or
Asta?
Asta? Because
Because
okay,
Asta has
okay,
a fifth horn now here. So
okay.
I think before he had two here. Now he has a fifth one coming out of his forehead.
Yeah, I mean, it is a shonen manga, so he'll probably get another power up. We fully expect something to that effect. So it will likely mean something, but I'm just waiting to see it at this point.
That
I'm
is
just
very
waiting to
true.
see it.
So, other than that, that's about all our thoughts for this Black Clover chapter. This Black Clover all. And was Dylan, sorry, and the lady, if you're asking why, short version, we said it in the beginning of the show. We want to discuss other series that have more stuff that we could break down and discuss other than just talking about for 5 minutes or 2 minutes and not having the whole team, just read it. Sam, he doesn't read it yet either. So it's kind of hard with the whole team don't really have a whole conversation about it. So it's very tough. And as Dylan said, if you look at the timers up and you can see his normal clothes showing up. Yeah, exactly that. So it just depends of what's gonna happen with Asta next. So vote above in the chat if you're here on the live stream because you could actually tell us what type of series you're actually probably looking forward for us to replace Black Clover. Other than that, the next series. Want to do Undead Unluck since you just binge it?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so let's tackle Undead Unluck chapter 102 and maybe a bit more since Abe just cut up a bit. So maybe you could give your thoughts on what you've been thinking about Undead Unluck in these recent chapters.
Well, another property that seems like either we're going into the final conclusion or we're at least ending an arc, because who knows, maybe we might get a similar treatment to Undead Unluck as we did with Chainsaw Man, where there was like a huge part 1 and we're waiting on part 2 that's supposed to drop, I
In
think,
spring.
this spring. Yeah.
Yeah, in the end of spring or the beginning of summer.
Yeah, so maybe that's a role we're going to get with Undead Unluck, or we really are heading into the final confrontation, because at the end of the day, you're now like the final boss is God himself, apparently, or herself. So I liked what I was seeing from this. Of course, Andy is trying to rescue and save Fuko, find out more information, and we're facing Umas who represent the rules that govern the natural world. With the chapters, for example, before Uma Galaxy was brought up, there were no stars, there were no constellations, there was not a name for anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Earth was the sole planet in the universe. Then Uma Galaxy got added to give all that life. When Andy fought Uma Thirst, nobody was thirsty anymore. It went from, oh wait, my throat was dry, a while ago, but it's gone now. It's like, all right,
some Sims out here.
It was just, I mean, look, but I was just like, this all makes sense. If you're gonna kill these rules, there's gonna be implications. For example, Uma Insect was killed, entire terrains changed. Everybody and their mama knows that insects are crucial to just the maintenance and, and crucial to life.
Even though I wish they all died.
Yeah, as much as we may not like insects, creepy crawlies, all that, they are crucial to our ecosystem.
Sadly.
So killing that, but ultimately, what did Andy say? That all doesn't matter if the world is supposed to end anyway. Like, fuck the rules, let's go. And that prompted God to actually or the emissary of God to pull up Julius and be like, stop that man. He's fucking up the world right now. And we even got dialogue from God himself.
Yes,
who was like, true. He was like, yo, not you playing in my sandbox like this. I want to enjoy this show a bit more. What you doing over here? So let me send regulations. And it is the first time we've seen such a character like this, because we're used to, when characters like this are introduced, we're used to them being like unsomething. Nah, this man's name is straight Seal. Like I am here just to wrap you up, to take you out the paint because you fucking up the sandbox right now. So I'm interested to see how this final battle goes. Well, I won't say final battle because we probably will get one more, but I'm interested to see how this battle goes. Uh, the way that Undead Unluck has been moving has been rather enjoyable, and if we are leading up to a conclusion, I'm gonna be very satisfied. I'm definitely gonna be very satisfied. Uh, just the dialogue itself has been good. The emotion within this series has been really, really on point. You know, there's not a time where I don't feel like, yo, I'm invested in the not only the safety of Fuko and the rescue of Fuko, but I'm actually concerned about the entire world because you're in like this low key lose lose situation, right?
Yeah.
You know, you can either go about this is the 100th loop, right? You can either go about going through the loop again, which means that you have no free will. Your life doesn't really amount to much. You're on a predetermined path and you're forced to stay there. Or you can be like, fuck all that. I want you don't own me. You don't tie me down. You don't control me. Like you're not you're not the end all be all. You know, you can't determine how I live my life, who I get to love, how I get to move. And so definitely looking forward to the next few chapters regarding all of this. To be real,
For me, I have to agree 100% because what was interesting in this chapter was the first page itself when God himself said not even our boy Victor had the gall to do something so foolish. So it just makes me ask more questions that what did Victor and Joyce do these past 100 loops that they failed to actually do some damage or hurt against God that only Andy could actually do. So to actually throw this whole world, this whole planet off balance. So it just makes it very curious to know that how much did Andy and plus Fuku change this whole timeline, to change this whole trajectory of what they did. It's just because of these two people. So it shows that it is it is the key importance of Fuku and Annie that changed this whole thing, and that's what I love about Joyce and them, that they knew it was them. God Himself, like you said, sent somebody to represent God, and their name is sealed, where it literally sealed up all the other Umas, the fire, the shield, the time, or the gun person, whatever that is in page 6 and 7, and the way that the seal thought they could have done it was to seal the heart, but then they said, okay, you are very different compared to the other humans, so it seems I have to seal you myself with the bandage paper, because no lie, the seal reminds me of some type of not zombie, it's a pharaoh, pharaoh that has the bandages around it.
oh, like a mummy.
Yes, like a mummy. Like that's what the seal kind of reminds me of a lot.
I feel it. Yeah, it just it's even it was so funny to when the messenger. I'm not gonna call the character on the moon God himself until they actually name him. I'm gonna refer to him as an emissary of God. Uh, but said character was like, not even Victor had the balls to do something like that. And you know Victor is a I don't give a fuck
He don't.
type of character. So the fact that not even him decided to step out and shows you just first of all how interesting not only Andy is, but really, really gives you perspective as to how much Andy has changed, like you mentioned, because of his involvement with Foucault. You know, we are basically to imagine that in 99 previous iterations, they never met up, but in the
Mm-hmm.
100th they do, and we get all of this change, all of this unprecedented involvement by everyone, leading to a whole faction that basically declared war on on the natural universe, or I won't say natural universe because God created it all, but I will say it's very very interesting, very very intriguing how that all worked out. But I've been enjoying it and I look forward to it. Plus, by the way, y'all go cop the physical copies.
Oh
I'm
yes.
enjoying it. I've been collecting them. I have the first 6 volumes and I enjoy every single cover of them so far.
There's 6 volumes already.
Yeah, there's 6 volumes out already.
Oh damn! I just have 2 volumes. Wow. I definitely missed all four. I didn't notice that. I was that behind.
When a manga drops on Amazon, like when they announce that, I pre-order that and I pre-order like as far in advance as I can. So the next, usually when you hear one volume is dropping, they'll tell you like, yeah, this is the expected delivery date of the next two. So I
Mm.
pre-order it because it's months in advance. And then as soon as the first one comes in, I go into Amazon and check like, all right, did they have a release date for the next one? And if they do, pre-order that bitch too. Because at the end of the day, that motherfucker gonna come out like chapter volume. I think I pre-ordered up until like volume 9 or 10.
Wow.
Volume 10 don't come out until like next April or some shit. So hell yeah, I'm gonna pre-order that bitch.
Yeah, Sam has kaiju numbers up to 6 pre-order in my account. Like damn.
Same.
So
Although
like,
I gotta check because they didn't drop volume 2, did they?
volume 2 is dropping next month of kaiju.
Okay, let me make sure I have that shit pre-ordered because that shit gonna sell out quick if I don't. I thought I had it, pre-ordered in advance, but let me go make sure.
No
Let
worries,
me go
go ahead
make
and
sure.
do that. Well, I'll tell chat as well. Yes, there is no Kaiju number 8 chapter happening this past Thursday. Kaiju number 8 chapter is coming out this Thursday of this week. So we would be definitely talking about it for Shonen Ronin episode 36. Will be Shonen Ronin episode 36 be live this Friday? Perhaps, most likely not. Depending on the team's schedule, most likely we'll be doing it on usually as Sunday. That's when we're all free and can make the time and can squeeze each team's schedule of who can and who cannot do it. So in case you guys had that question, because chapters will be dropping in 5 days, so we'll be dropping on Friday. But maybe you guys could catch me doing like a quick small video on Twitter, on YouTube, or IG. See what's up, what happens. But also real glad I wasn't spoiled on One Piece this week. I wasn't spoiled, but I've been hearing the rumors in the timeline. So, and I know A Reddit, he told me a bit of what happened, but not too much. So, sounds dope, sounds cool. But Undead Unluck, I do want to say one last thing, is that what like what Seal said in the end, that I am Seal. I was born from the gods' regulations to seal you undead. And then Andy don't look scared. He looks excited because he said something that got me intrigued. Been a while since I faced certain doom. So like he's actually curious to see if he can actually get sealed or die from said person. So his his character, he looks very optimistic to see what's next because he don't know what's the next possibility that could happen for him. So that's very curious and I like it. But also I was gonna ask you, Abe, from what we got in the first 2 pages, is God the Son?
Yeah, it looks like God is represented as sun, which makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because it makes sense that God is the Son, right? Because
Hmm.
in last chapter, 2 chapters ago, we got Joey's talking to the moon. So it's pretty interesting. Like God is the sun, and then the moon is somebody else, but also had a conversation with Joey's, and the moon spoke to Joey's out of their own will, when usually Joey's is the one that talks to them first. So it's pretty interesting of how this series has God and moon being as gods and representations.
Cause they tired of Andy's bullshit, yo. They're like, yo, Andy, can you stop? Like, we've done this 99 times. Why are you acting up now? This is status quo. Stop being annoying. Like, just go with it. How dare you? You keep going. You keep doing your thing, Andy. You keep being a menace.
And plus, it makes sense that the sealed guy, if you look in page 4, he has the sun type of logo, the same as the same guy that we met about 10 chapters ago, Unrip or Unspoil or something like that. His name was
Ruin.
Unruined. Thank you. So it shows that God has his own followers, and it shows that it was definitely him. It was definitely him being a follower to God Himself.
And I lied. I did have Kaiju Volume 2. I have Kaiju pre-order for the next couple volumes. But Volume 9 of Undead Unluck drops in October. Let me go see
Oh
if they've
wow.
released the date for Volume 10. They
Yes, I
usually do.
agree, Alvis. Luna, aka the moon, is still shrouded with a lot of mystery. So myself, I am very curious about that. Andy and Bill like Victor. That's something that's very obvious, but Andy has been learning to become his own person, like Victor. But with Victor, he has 99 loops of years of experience. He probably has almost 10,000 years of experience of to know his own ability. For Andy, we know that he has probably less than 200, less than 600 years. So, and he's never actually took the time to play around with his abilities. So he doesn't know too much compared to Victor. So it's very hard to compare apples and oranges, even though they are the same person within the same body. Just the just just two different personalities, right?
Also, it's just because it doesn't seem that he always remembers his past lives. Like Victor has more of a handle on that than Andy. And Andy really don't give a fuck about that shit. Andy's just trying to die. That was his main goal. It still is his goal,
Yeah,
but now it's got more substance to it. So, again, that relationship between Andy and Foucault tells you just how meaningful, how impactful not only was it to each other, but really how it affects their entire planet. It's ridiculous. That chance encounter between two people can make such fucking waves that have very dangerous, but also maybe beneficial consequences too. They've saved a lot of lives. They've saved a lot of lives. They've helped a lot of people, achieve more than they ever have in previous iterations, achieve more than they ever thought they could. And we appreciate that. We appreciate the storytelling. We appreciate the dialogue. We appreciate the relationship building
agree.
between all these characters. Because they're so interesting. You you're taking a world, and when it comes to just this is just me speaking of my own experience as a fan. So it's appropriate to my fan level. Um, you see all these new anime, new mangas, especially when it comes to the shonen genre, and they all have power systems, and it's kind of like, all right, how do you make yours unique? How do you make yours stand out in a genre where everybody could have a sword or everybody could fight this in similar fashion? How do you make yours stand out? And you having negators, having umas, and using the powers of like the natural order of things to make it so unique is really dope, and it's what helped make Undead Unluck very interesting to me. We
Agreed.
go back to the beginning, Unconfidential. We even go up to recent Unruined, Undead. We got Unluck. We have who else? We have Unstoppable. We have Unmoved. We have all of these really dope ideas that come from a simple just fact or rule of the natural order, the natural way of physics and stuff like that. So it's been pretty dope. I enjoy Undead Unluck a lot, and I hope that everybody else is enjoying it too. Like I said, please support the manga and buy physical copies if you can.
Agree.
You won't regret it. You won't regret it.
And plus, I would like to add also that this is the first time for a Undead chapter that we get a new person talking about regulations and abilities, and it's not called unsealed. There's no un with
Exactly,
the
just straight sealed.
just straight seal. So it's pretty interesting that this is the first time we get that. And if I'm wrong, please correct me, guys, in the chat or in the comments, because from what I know, that this is the first time that they use the word sealed without the unsealed. Undead, unlock stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting to see that this is the first time we see that type of wording.
Because
Um,
it's like, with everybody else, they have that because they're a negator, right?
yeah,
So seal isn't a negator. However, he's I guess what would you call him, a regulator? Because what did he do? He just, all right,
A
time to wrap
regulator.
you up. I'm here to regulate you.
That's true.
It's the first time we've seen any entity of this type, and it tells you just how much God is like, yeah, you fucking up my sandbox. You playing too much. I need to go take care of you exclusively to deal with undead. So, and I will say this. I don't want to miss this, but even in that chapter 2, it was said that God has dealt with uh, how do you deal with undead in general. And they showed us that image of what was it, of that creature that just being pinned down by a rock, and that's how we get sealed. So I'm enjoying. It's a good ride. It's a good ride. I hope everybody else is enjoying it too.
Same. In the chat they say volume. So hold up. There's like four of the chats I missed. Yeah, presumably Andy hasn't. He hasn't existed in to this loop. Indeed, chapter one stood out to me, so I'm super glad it hasn't been canceled or axed. Even if the beginning was
Ooh.
off-putting for some people.
Yo, it really was though, because oh, I think I told this story before on this platform, but so we've a former guest on the Anime Lately podcast, a Black Hole player, and one of our other brothers, Tim. Those two were like, "Yo, Abe, you should peep Undead Unluck," and I was like, "Bet." It had just recently come out, and I read the first chapter, and I'm like, "Is this a etchy ass, I ain't got nothing wrong against etchy material, but I'd rather watch that than read it. And so I'm like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. I think it was like the first two chapters, but they kept not keep, even they themselves were like, yeah, you know what? I mean, I'm gonna keep reading because there seems to be something interesting, but like at the same time, we may drop it. And I think what after the first 3, 4 chapters, I was like, oh, okay. So that's not what this is gonna be about. Like him trying to fuck, right? And it's like, nah, it's him trying to get love, but it's like, there's been enough to be like, hey, you know what? Not a bad project. Not a bad project. But definitely those first couple chapters had me side eyeing the shit out of this series. Like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna actually read this shit.
It's crazy because in the chat, what Ava said that their arc, their arc that got them hooked, it was the Billy betrayal arc.
Really? Oh, okay. Well,
For
I mean,
me,
well,
for me, it was spoil arc. I think it was chapter 8 to 16, because that's when we saw Victor. That's when we saw Andy's ability, and that's when we saw Shen as well.
and you getting hooked at Billy Betrayal. First of all, kudos to you for riding along because that was what you had to roll what through what about 80, 70 chapters,
No, I
70,
think
80
that was
chapters or 90,
40 or 50.
40? Oh, was a Betrayal round chapter? Why it feels so recent? Okay.
Because
Um.
you read when Fuku was still with Billy and the team of Under during chapter 70 to 80 ish.
Oh. Mm, okay, that makes sense. Although that arc right there was some great artwork, especially in
Yes.
terms of character design. Oh, well, all right, then you stuck 40 chapters. You were a patient person and you were rewarded for it. But that betrayal was definitely a nice, plot twist. If I can call it a plot twist. I guess for me, what got me intrigued was the first negator that they came across, which was Andy's ex-girlfriend, one of his ex-girlfriends,
Yes.
that basically got them recruited into the organization. I was like, oh, okay, so there's more. We're getting more people like you, and this is very interesting. And knowing that you had to strategize, Eddie had to strategize in order to beat her.
Yep.
It was like, oh, it's not no, yeah, I'm motherfucking, I can't die. Like I could chop off my fingers and regrow my limbs and use my body parts as weapons. And instead of it just being like, all right, I can run through my opponents, it was like, oh no, we actually got a thing. Like I'm actually struggling.
It's
I'm
crazy.
not I'm not like some unbeatable force. So yeah, that's what really got me. Basically, the first arc got me. The first major storyline got me hooked
It's
on
crazy
Undead
because my
Unluck.
favorite part of that chapter is not even the fight against his ex girlfriend. It was the fight. It was the painting of Fuku and his ex girlfriend. And when Fuku said that she added the stars with the moon, it's because she felt like the moon was alone without any stars. That's when you notice that this planet, this Earth that we're on, is very different, and there are some things missing. That's when I start to realize, like, wait, there's some shit going on, and that's when I had to reread the most recent past, 12, 15 chapters to understand what the fuck was going on there. So I'm like, oh, Fuku is starting to notice things that are out of place, that are supposed to be there but are not there. And that's when I started to actually fall in love more with the series. That those little things that you had to pay attention to from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, these that's the beauty of the stuff that we read and these mangakas, these artists, these creators, is that they like to when you finally get to a certain point, that's when you start to, for some people, especially for me, that's when you start to realize like, oh, the pieces were always there. Like they always had hinted at. It's the reason why I love rewatching shows, because when you rewatch a show, you start to realize that this is when they first mention this and it would later lead to this. I fucking love that. And you get to I don't reread mangas. I don't know why. I'll rewatch a show like 50 times if I love it enough. But when it comes to a manga, I won't reread it. But for those who do, I'm sure
Props to you.
we have the same level of enjoyment when we get to be like, right here. Right here. This is when they did it. Now you see, I can tell it. It's just going back and reviewing is always so dope. Um, and yeah, Undead Unluck is it's top tier entertainment. So it's a really good read.
I feel you on that because I'm rewatching One Piece for probably the fifth or sixth time with my girl. It's her first time, but I want to reread One Piece the manga.
The fact that you're talking about 1,000 episodes and be like, yeah, I'm rewatching it for the fifth or sixth time is that's wild to me. That's dedication.
No, well, I
that's
haven't. No,
that's
well,
love.
I have
That's love.
I have rewatched One Piece back when it was like 600, 400 episodes. But now that's 1,000. I haven't rewatched it since then. But this is my first rewatch as a whole, and also with my lady. That's the only time I'll rewatch it. The next time I will rewatch the series is when I have kids. That's the next time that's the next time I'll
Reboot.
rewatch the series. That's probably like another 10, probably another 10, 15 years.
Well, hopefully, depending on because of that, the shenanigans that happened at Toei Animation, in regards to them being hacked and whatnot, certain properties were on indefinite hiatus. One Piece being one of them,
Take your
unfortunately.
time because the anime is close to the manga. So take your time.
They'll. There's no way they'll let One Piece anime just like not exist anymore. So they'll figure it out. But it just sucks because either Black Hole was telling me this either la- today, this weekend, or next weekend was supposed to be the roof episode,
Yeah, it was supposed to be next
which
weekend.
which pains my heart because I stopped watching the anime um while ago. When I'm reading the manga, if it has an anime that's also out, I usually prefer the manga over the anime, so I'll drop the anime. So I haven't watched One Piece since halfway through Whole Cake before I decided to settle in on the manga and just exclusively. And I was going to go back just to watch the animation of the rooftop episode, and so I'm hurt. I'm hurt.
All right,
But
so
yeah,
hey, quick question: would you want to transition and talk about One Piece real quick? Because I know that we're talking about One Piece a bit. Would you want to just give your quick thoughts on this chapter?
um, no.
No.
The reason being is that it's if you're not reading One Piece, there's so much like spoilers that is going to that and I get it. We will spoil material because we are covering it, but One Piece is one of those controversial properties out there because people like to complain that it's too long, people this, that, and the other. And but shout out to all the content creators who discuss One Piece. You know, like Almighty Fish Mix. Shout out to my boy over there. Who take the time to just really break down and analyze each and every fucking chapter because y'all are goated. Y'all are definitely goated. But what I will say to this, to everybody who's watching us right now, One Piece is been really enjoyable to me. It's not a perfect property at all,
Oh,
but it's still
definitely
been
not.
very enjoyable. And this recent chapter has me hyped because it's like, all right, you've been building up to this moment for so long, mention this person, and we've always, a lot of us have theorized we know who it is, but to finally get confirmation and the way that it ended that final panel, I'm like, I can't wait to see the next chapter and see where we go with this. And that's all I'll say on One Piece.
All right. Alvis, because I told the chat the last chapter I left on the manga of One Piece was chapter 970. That was the last three chapters that were left of the Oden flashback. But I've been like, I'm in the timeline. I know what's going on a bit. So I know about the rooftop. I know about
Yeah.
Yamato. I know a bit what's going on. So, and then I would say I might want to wait a couple more chapters before I could catch up. But so my goal is this, chat. My goal is this. Me and my fiance, we just started Thriller Bark, and right now we're in episode 320. So we just started Thriller Bark. My goal, if it happens, I'm planning to do 700 more episodes until the end of the year. I want to watch and catch up with her by the end of the year. So if I could do 700 episodes by the end, I'll be cut up to where the anime is roughly, and then by the new year, maybe start reviewing the manga again on Shonen Ronin, just or just be cut up for myself enjoyment and see with my fiance because that's just a dope experience to watch what's currently airing with her as well. So that'd be dope as well. So that's my goal. If it happens, if not, if I give in and I'm just enjoying One Piece so much, I could just catch up on my own and still rewatch it with her. I could still do both, but I'm trying to see how long I can hold myself with this One Piece content in this binge. So let's see how I hold on for the
You
next couple
basically
months.
need to watch 3 episodes a day, roughly.
That's what we actually do. We do 3 to 5 episodes a day.
Yeah, so you'll be able to knock it out before the end of the year.
Yeah. So far we already did 120 episodes the past 3 months. So it's possible.
Very possible.
Possible. But without the One Piece content conversation and Undead Unluck conversation has ended, let's talk about the last coverage of the show, and it's My Hero Academia. Abe, how you feeling about this chapter? Because I've heard some people's opinions on the timeline already, but I want to hear yours most importantly. How did you feel?
Oh, it's a good thing I didn't even look at the timeline. I have no idea what people are saying about this chapter. But in regards to the new chapter that just dropped today, look, Shigaraki all for one hybrid is motherfucking a beast. Honestly, it's he's filthy. And his evolution is damn damn scary. But what I did love, and something that of course we were going to get in this big team battle is a lot of the strategizing and combo moves. First of all, we have the support class stepping up, motherfucking big time, building that arena and keeping that arena functional versus someone like Shigaraki's decay quirk. That is top tier construction. That is top tier utilization of talent. That is super, super motherfucking enjoyable. Even old boy from Class 1B, I keep forgetting his name, but the arrogant, loudmouth, he's basically Bakugo light, in my opinion. The combo with him and Aizawa and that one the other hero who super clutch is keeping old boy's eyes hydrated while
Yep.
he's using Aizawa's quirk is so fucking dope. You see, just these combinations of quirks is making for enjoyable content. But what I love even more than that is us dealing with Toga. I love her. I love her a lot. I think she's a very interesting character. She's very unique because she is the same side. She's on the same side as like Ochako and Deku of the same coin. Well, she's a different side of the same coin, is what I mean to say. And the fact that once again, Deku's danger sense is not lighting up, and it's like, yeah, because how likely is it for you to meet someone who is just as I'm trying to find the right word because I don't want to call Toga a villain, mainly because her I sympathize. I sympathize with her character.
Agree.
I understand how she feels. I understand where she's coming from. I can see it. But you have someone as deadly as her being with who does it with, no ill intent. She doesn't hurt people because she wants because she hates them. She hurts them in her quest for companionship and her quest for being close to someone. Of course, danger sense wouldn't activate, and that makes it so dope because now it's like, all right, how much of a cheat code is an ability to like danger sense, right? When you have that, it's similar to the Spidey senses. We see how it helps with Spider-Man. We see how he's able to avoid certain dangers and whatnot, but he still goes through punishment, right? In this one, his danger sense allows him to avoid the deadliest of attacks. But when you have someone like Toga, and keep in mind, y'all, Toga still got a fucking ace up her motherfucking sleeve. She still has twice his blood. So whenever she pulls that out, I would say it's GG's for these niggas, but like, of course, we know it's a shonen manga. It's not gonna be GG's for them, but them motherfuckers are gonna be sick. They're gonna be sick when they're like, wait, that motherfucker's still alive, regardless. I do like how this not final chapter. I do like how this chapter ended, and Toga saying, I want a boyfriend. It stays true to what she's been about. When we got a bit of her backstory, she was made to seem like as some creep because she like her feeling of community and closeness was connected with her quirk, which was so abnormal. And it's the thing that we really, have to consider that in a world full of quirks, where the word quirk itself in this case means like a different ability, but when we use quirk, the word quirky, it's like, oh, someone who's kind of eccentric. I don't like using the word weird because there's such a negative connotation, but saying someone is quirky is usually positive, right? So in this universe, we have quirks. Everybody has different abilities, and yet it doesn't matter. Depending on what abilities you have determines your worth. And then you look at people who are like heteromorphs, who don't look like human beings because that's what their quirk did to them. They still get discriminated against. It's just so interesting, the social structure, the social climate within this world, and how it really moves people. And it's the reason why I sympathize solely with Toga. I'm Team Toga all the way. She wants to kill all these motherfuckers. Go ahead, kill them all. Kill them all. I support you. You have every right to that discrimination, that fear, that level of disgust you had to deal with since such a young age. Not only from the outside world, but even from family and whatnot. It's just like, yeah, fuck it, kill them all.
I would say, out of the norm, I suppose, owning their weirdness in a way. Just look at my man Frankie for One Piece. He's mega quirky.
Frankie, but yeah, he's a great example. He's a great example.
I do agree with that. Like, he owns his quirkiness. Like, he's just wears an underwear and a shirt, so he just owns his quirkiness.
First time I saw him, I was like, oh, it's just I'm not the biggest fan of his design I'm not the biggest fan of him basically turning himself into a fucking cyborg. Well, he's more machine than man at this point.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
But hey, Frankie does what he does, and he's super important. But I do want to reiterate something. I said like, yeah, I'm down for kill them all. Again, that doesn't mean that's her motivation. Her motivation is not to kill everybody. That's not her. I support that inevitable consequence of her actions.
If it does happen, like, you support it. If it does happen, I
support it.
Her motive.
That's not her motivation. It's not her motivation to kill everybody. That is my my vision for her. That's what I want for her. I want her to just go on a murderous rampage. But again, herself, she just wants companionship, and she's so fixated on Deku because Deku is like this idyllic figure, this person who is low key free of prejudice, who doesn't judge you based on your quirk, who's not like, oh my god, that is a disgusting ass quirk. You are sick. He's like, oh wow, this is interesting. He was the one that always took notes, like, oh, this is how this person uses this quirk. Oh, how do they strategize? Blah blah. Like, he's a bookworm. He's so interesting, and it's why she was so fixated on him.
Well, Abe, in the chat they said, Avis said, this man, Abe, rooting for Sui, Orca, Ochako devs, and that's a thought.
Oh,
Hey, if you guys haven't
all,
met Abe just likes to see death. All right, that's why he's a son
all
of
things
Darkseid.
must come to an end at some point, and death is not the end. It is the beginning, or whatever they like to tell us. I'm just saying, Toga, do what you gotta do. I just can't wait to see. I fully expect her to utilize Twice's blood. I can't wait to see what happens when she does. If she
So
doesn't utilize it, I'm gonna be upset.
that's one thing I hope to. It depends what's happening next chapter. And also, Adverse brought up something that I also thought about this chapter. That Ochako's there wasn't a reaction for her. I hope there's a reaction for next chapter. Because Toga confessed in a way to Deku said to be my boyfriend. And Toga confessed before Ochako. That's the thing I find funny. That both of them were trying to confess to each other way before this, but they never found the chance. But Toga just spurred out, said, hey, don't go, Izuku. I love you, so please don't go. I'm not sure if that panel right there below was the reaction to saying Toga, but you, like, what Deku said, what exactly do you want from me? And she just said it, for you to be my boyfriend. I just love that her just being straight up, blunt, and serious. Saying, yo, I just want you to be my boyfriend. Just straight and simple. That's it.
Ochako and Deku shippers about to shake their fists in the air and be like, hey, 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 that's not meant for you. So and even then, um this battle that we're going to get, this interaction between Ochako, Deku, and Toga is going to be so interesting because keep in mind, it's one of my favorite moments in the entire history of this manga was the conversation that Ochako and Toga had, about like heroes and villains and saving people. I really am looking forward to their interactions at this point because even though Chaco has realized since then, it's helped, it's shaken her entire worldview, right? It's made her realize like, hey, I may not have this entirely understood. I can't be so presumptuous in my belief system anymore. I can't assume that, oh yeah, there's only one right way and this wrong way, and this is what I grew up on. Not saying that she fully sympathizes with Toga. No, her belief is that Toga is still someone who needs to be apprehended, still a dangerous individual, but it's not as black and white as we once thought. And that's the same thing that we've been learning throughout this entire series. The hero society is not as cut and dry. It's not as clean. It's not as black and white. There's a lot of murkiness. There's a lot of gray area. And seeing people come to that realization, finally rip away that facade of perfection, of just everything being handled, has been so enjoyable. And that's why these three and their interactions, is going to be so fucking dope to see played out over the next, chapter or however many chapters it takes.
I agree because it's gonna be very intriguing of how they're gonna go away for the next couple chapters and how they're gonna react and how Toga, Deku, and Ochako, both of them are gonna be part of this. And I wonder if Sui, if if she's gonna overhear this as well, like how is she gonna react too? So that'll be very intriguing. But I do want to talk about the big hand in the room, the big elephant in the room. The hands that's spreading all across the fucking dome. And Hori, I never thought expected to draw hands in such a creepy way. Cause seeing it in page one, then seeing it in page three, and then our girl the rabbit, I'm drawing blank on the name. She literally grabbed more hands.
Miracle.
Oh yes, thank you, Miracle. She went to get more hands and a feet because it broke obviously, and it shows how well prepared they are. And she calls our boy Dynamite, "Hey, we formed this team, so let's get your act together." And I love how, and this is what I wanted, that if people try to use a short version of Dynamite, I love how he actually corrects people. Say, "Yo, my name is the Great Explosion Murder God Dynamite, and you lot got nerve to lecture me." And it's like saying like, "Yo, if you're gonna call my name correctly." And I just love the next panel saying that the best genius said, "You guys stay focused." I love how Miracle and Bakugo both react like, "Yo, you wanna fight too?" Like just by the characters and just by the team ups, it's just some great character development with all of them and their interaction. I love it.
Yeah, it really is dope. Like I said before, Shigaraki All For One, whatever we want to call him, hybrid, is going through some intense evolution, and it made sense because they're like, "Yo, aren't we? Aizawa, is it erasure like working? Is hey, I'm doing my job, right? Yeah, you are. This is not quirk. This is just adapting. This is evolution, just playing out real quick. Because again, as they mentioned, this is not the same fight as Jaku, as the battle on Jaku. This when they last saw him, he was not complete. He is nearing completion. So there's a lot of things that's gonna change. And again, they couldn't go get Deku because if they do, you are being bold in your assumption that this evolution, his abilities won't spread to this honestly freakish Nico Robin like ability he's doing.
They
Um
in the chat they actually compare his hands to Abema Hito, his domain expansion. He
oh, okay.
also
Okay. Yeah,
so
that's fair. That's fair.
that's
That's
fair
fair.
because I I myself also see the comparison, which is pretty interesting. I'm like, oh, I did not see it in the first place, so it makes
I
sense.
had caught up on One Piece beforehand, so I immediately just thought Nico.
Makes
But
sense.
yeah, no, it's a very bold assumption, and it's one you can't afford to make. Everybody has to strategize and be very intentional about what moves that they do, and it leaves Deku stranded. But of course, we want that because we want this interaction. He needs Deku and Toga. We need that interaction for sure. We need that. Um, but yeah, Shigaraki's wow. That's a wild boy, yo. That motherfucker is a tough one. He a tough one.
But I'm curious to see how long can they hold out until Deku comes, because right now, uh, Abemonoma could only hold out for 5 minutes with the quirk of Eraserhead. So
Mm-mm.
they only have probably 3 or 4 more minutes for them to actually hold off until Deku comes. So I'm curious to see because they are already prepared to know that if all those hands gets released without the Eraser quirk, that means they could activate the whole decay. So I love how they are prepared for what's to come and what's a
Mm-hmm.
possibility that if all those hands could cause decay, this whole dome is gonna fall and collapse.
And it's over. It's over because at that point he can. And what's to stop him from just completely destroying the world at a single touch? Single touch. That's all it takes. Shigaraki a fucking menace.
Is gonna be interesting of how Deco's gonna come because he has flow, so he could technically fly over there. But it just depends of how much is willing to use the speed and the quirk just to get over there and be useful.
I
Uh, uh,
mean, we gotta assume we gotta assume that it's close enough to use his quirk like that, and it's gonna cause fatigue. You can't pull up. You can't be tired pulling up on Shigaraki like that.
Oh, you can't.
Boy.
You gotta be prepared.
So we're gonna see how what they do to get him to where he needs to go. But again, the focus now is you got a conversation to have with Toga, boy. We're
Yep.
gonna see if you can save her, quote unquote save her, talk reason to her, or just it's gonna be super interesting. It's gonna be super interesting.
It's gonna be pretty interesting. Sorry, it is pretty interesting that out of everyone that owns an aquarium, makes sense that is getting Orca. Like who? Like the only person that actually own an aquarium is the guy that actually has to live or be the strongest in water.
I'm so happy to see him again because when we first
He's
saw
an
him,
Orca. It makes sense to be
yeah,
useful.
well, we first saw him ages ago, yeah, basically years ago. I was like, oh, who this motherfucker who looked like a villain? He looked like he a low-key villain,
He
like a
does.
motherfucking mob boss. I'm like, I like this one. At the time, he was the number 10 hero. I don't know what his ranking is now with I don't remember where he moved up after All Might's you know, departure from the top 10. But yeah, we're at an aquarium, and guess who's all there? A lot of the aquatic like quirk users, such as Frothy and them. So
Yep.
super super dope. Oh, also I do want to give Momo her props. I forgot to give her props in regards to the arena that's holding Shigaraki. We're seeing her quirk like really being used to maintain a fucking floating prison. Like everybody's crucial. Everybody's
I
crucial.
appreciate that you said that, A, because one person in the comment section I saw on timeline, they said that they're not a fan how some of the Class 1A characters are on the sideline and more of the heroes are more in the forefront. But it's like, what do you mean Class 1A in the sideline? Each student is being useful to their potential. Momo is literally used for her abilities to make stuff that cannot be get from other countries because of the war that's going on and how the other countries don't want to be useful. So right now, Momo is one of the most useful persons right now. Yes, she's not fighting the league, but she's been useful in a different place where she's being here to contain the dome to keep our boy Shiggy not to cause more damage. So it makes sense why other people and other characters are here in other spots because they're being used for their full potential. Because one of the comments I saw that Momo should be fighting to represent the fallen, aka her master or her sensei, aka Midnight. But I'm like, yes, that makes sense. But she's also helping to keep Shiggy and not kill other people down below. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's also a big importance.
Yeah, for me, I look for those who have an issue. I just implore you to take a step back and to just not actually go back and review, but just to go to your memory and look back on the history of this series. Not everyone is going to be a combatant. Not everyone is going to fight. One of the things that I feel like everyone should have learned by now is the creativity and versatility of quirks. There are some abilities and like how do you use this? How is it applicable? And we've seen it. And in this case, I know because Momo is one of the smartest in the class, right?
Yep.
And we've seen her fight in training arcs and whatnot before. We know that she can throw hands when she needs to. We know that she can go toe to toe with people. But we're at a stage where like, yo, people who can fight, who have the quirks to fight, we need that. Other people, we need your quirks for other things. Such
Exactly.
she's I don't want to use the word infinite because we know she has a limit, right? But she is a very rich resource. Like you mentioned, that they're cut off from because the entire world is like, yo, we saw what that motherfucker did to the US number one hero.
So we're gonna stay back
And
and y'all do your thing.
we got villains like popping up because all for one, he be checking his list, checking it twice, 3 times, 4 times. That motherfucker Santa Claus, right? He's like, I got villains for all y'all motherfuckers, so y'all don't interfere. bro, without Momo, this plan does not work. This floating prison doesn't work. They are screwed. They could probably get a floating prison going, but it's likely like a one-shot thing. Like, yo, this is our trump card. We use this prison, we have to hit this motherfucking one shot. But because of Momo, as you saw, we can replenish lost material, you know. Like they said, it was like, oh, panels 1A and then 6F, they're down. Let's replenish. Let's keep it. Basically, this is a floating prison that can constantly replenish health. Like, that's dope.
So,
and you have a character like Momo to help catalyze that. But again, everybody's crucial. If they're not throwing hands, they're still being crucial. And that's what I want everybody to understand when it comes to My Hero Academia. You might not see your beloved characters throw hands. I love
exactly.
Froppy.
Thank you for that comment.
She may not fight. I may not see Froppy fight. We really haven't seen Froppy fight for most of this series, and that's fine because whatever they use her, I trust Horikoshi to utilize her in a way that's like, yes, this is going to use her talent in a way that's going to be very beneficial to the overall cause. So, you know, it's just something that you got to accept.
I think was it in chapter 344 was it where that hero told Abemonoma one of the best comments to him, and I felt like it was perfectly said that since I was little, people have said you will never be a superhero with that quirk. It's one man for a supporting role for a bit player, and then he said this operation will fail unless everyone plays their part. There's no such thing as a bit player. You have been and always will be a star. That's saying that no matter who you are in this battle, in this war, you are playing an important key, aka Abe Monoma, a girl right there. They're doing each their own key role. Abe Monoma, he's doing the warp quirk and the razor quirk, both taking turns, and that's a lot. He had to learn each quirk within less than 5 days. Because he commented, wait, you're telling me I have to learn this in a few days? A few means 5 days max. So that means he learned 2 quirks in less than 5 days. That is a huge props and steps that you had to do.
And keep in mind, when it came to Sergeant Joe, keep in mind when it came to that warp court, it's not like him just warping one people. He warped the whole squad in and then warped both the squads, all the heroes, and villains to several locations spread out all over the place.
That's a feat that nobody could do very easily in just days.
Look, guys, we're not going to see everybody fight, but we're going to see people utilize their quirk, and they deserve their motherfucking props for that shit. They deserve their motherfucking props for that shit. Because that's ridiculous. You're asking a kid to master an ability, not just for himself, but to transfer a whole army to 2 armies, 2 armies, 2 armies, various locations on the battlefield. I'm gonna venture off to say like there's at least 5 different locations that he had to send them to.
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
That's fucking ridiculous.
And
I don't like the character because his personality is annoying, but that
I hate him. I've been hating him, and I think somebody else in the series. But Hori is the first time that actually made me like it because he's useful, and he's being cocky for a reason, and he understands him. So like, yo, this quirk can have just copies, and you actually was useful. And like that's a feat alone that nobody can use. Like you literally help everyone accomplish this mission. You separate the Demon Lord, All for One. You separate Shiggy, and you separate the other leagues and do their own thing. So that's a feat alone. And you're also using Eraser quirk to cancel the whole decay. That's something that not much anybody could do.
Because look at it. Just look at it. We know that everybody, you know, when they utilize their quirks, they have limitations. It's inevitable. Or else they be too OP. We know Eraser has limitations because his eyes dry. He constantly has to water his eyes. Look at Horikoshi giving us someone who utilizes water as a quirk, to circumvent that that
Just right, like boy,
situation.
just literally just standing there and just watering his eyes. That's all he's doing.
Just like, hey, I got one job and one job only to make sure your eyes stay hydrated so you can keep them open.
That's it.
That's legitimately it,
And
and I
that's
fuck with it.
and that's simple.
You,
But you're causing it. So I love how
mm-hmm,
each character,
mm-hmm.
even our boy Kirishima. Wait, is it in the Kirishima?
Oh
It's the Lightning
yes,
Boy.
yes, boy. No, it's isn't Kirishima Red Riot?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but
T-
yeah, whatever that. He's another character that I don't hate him, but it's just like look at him having the time of his
he's
motherfucking life.
charging it and he's happy.
Boy, we always were like, yo, this guy uses his ability, and he's a one trick, he's a one pump chump, yo, he's a one trick pony.
What pump Trump?
Now we over here where he can go off, and he got unlimited. Yo, this man is flexing right now.
He's
He flexing
he has grown his quirk in a great way because before back
because he has a huge output.
yeah, and people used to underestimate that. Like back in season one, he did a huge output and got stupid. Now he's doing a huge output and is controlling it very well, and he's doing it for the
I
class.
wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if there's again, because it's all about strategy. We're seeing a lot of combinations. If they are working, there's what, four people who are serving
Yeah,
as
four.
like energy sources. Whether it's one of those four or another hero or equipment to help him circumvent that loophole in his ability, because it's like, yo, so you basically just do a supernova blast and then you down for the count. You done. You let off. You use one Pikachu Thunderbolt and you done. But it's dope to see that he's out there flourishing. He's being crucial. People might say like, "Yo, we could use that attack. We could use that ability in the fight." And what will it do for you? You see how it's more applicable here, right? You see how he's getting more usage here. That's something that you should expect from everyone. So don't get too upset if you see one of your beloved characters be like, "Yo, they should be getting this. They should." Horikoshi know what the fuck he doing. He know what the fuck he doing. Just trust him. Just trust him.
I 100% agree with that. So like I'm happy that each character are doing what they're doing. Yes, we have not seen other characters like Miro, like where they're at and what other characters doing on the streets. But guess what? This is a whole war. Everything gets told in different side times with each chapter being told bit by bit. So we will transition to Spinner, to this other character, to the other league, to Dabi and Shoto. We haven't seen where they're at right now. So we will see what's going on with their fight too. So their fight is what I'm looking forward to. But at the same time, Hori will tell us his story. A lot of people are worried it's because he's planning to end this. He's planning to end the series this year. So we probably have less than 40 chapters to go. But guess what? We just gotta have trust and faith. And if it's not perfect the way you want it, guess what? You didn't tell the story. It's not your series. It's Hori. And if it didn't come out as what you wanted, again, not your story. So I'm very happy how it's going. Can't wait for the next couple of chapters because we're about to reach 350 and we're coming close to the end in less than 40 or so chapters to end off with the series. And if it ends next year, all right, he has more time to tell and he has more time to add what he believes is right for the story. So I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. So that's my last thoughts for my hero. How about you, Abe?
Hey, this my hero straight guys. Y'all know what it is. It's straight guys. Every week we just be like, oh shit, like let's get it popping. And this is leading to a very, very dope, dope conclusion. So I'm excited for it. Shout out to Horikoshi for real, for real. Really killing that motherfucker. And shout out to all the fans who have been supportive. Um, I was out here saying, you guys gotta buy the Undead Unluck manga. Look, I don't own any copies of My Hero just because
I
it
plan to
was
one
one of those
day.
series that I enjoyed, but I was like, yeah, what really to me the very enjoyable moments of My Hero have come since the War Liberation arc and on. But of course, I'm not about to start collecting mangas around that time. I would start from the beginning. So at some point, it's definitely going to be a collection that I start. But yeah, shout out to the fans. Shout out to everybody who's been fucking with this series and who continue to show love. Whether you're manga only, whether you're anime only, whether you're both, shout out to y'all for real, for real.
I agree. I can't complain on that. So, without further ado, that was our My Hero Academia discussion of chapter 347. So chapter of the week of this weekly issue of 15, a weekly Shonen Jump. Abe, since I know you read One Piece and other series, are you gonna give it to One Piece for this week?
Nah, shoot, nah, I won't give it to One Piece just because a lot of people be giving it to One Piece, and I don't want to give it to One Piece, but One Piece was enjoyable. I really don't have any chapter to give it to just because there's been so many series that I kind of let build up in chapters, so I'm definitely going to binge it. But I did want to take this moment just to acknowledge Doctor Stone, which concluded last week,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been one of my favorite series since it started in Shonen Jump, and to see it conclude, my overall thoughts, it's been an enjoyable ride. It's been a nice change of pace in regards to the shonen material that I consume.
Agree.
And I definitely fucking appreciate it. So, I'm definitely gonna catch up on more of my reads, such as I've been letting Sakamoto Days, Mission Yuzakura Family, Elusive Samurai, Yashimon, uh, Duran, and basically all of them build up. So I'm excited to binge that over the next couple of days.
Same. For me, my chapter of the week of Weekly Shonen Jump issue 15 is My Hero Academia. I have not read One Piece. I love My Hero for this week chapter because is like we did discuss for the past 40 or so minutes of My Hero. I really enjoy for what they brought in this chapter. I I can't wait to see what's happening for next week and the next couple weeks. This chapter of issue 16 will be coming out this Friday, and JJK does return, so I can't wait to see what JJK and Yuta brings up. And I hope Gadget is feeling well as well because there was supposed to be a chapter planned today, but it got unexpected push because he's not feeling well. So give your best wishes to Gadget because I hope he is feeling much better. And for now, Abe, we have 19 votes for the series to replace Black Clover. Number one, it's Sakamoto Days with 53%. Number two is Mission Yurikura Family with 16%. And Ayashiman, number three, 21%. And number four is Elusive Samurai with 11%. And
Y'all
that's
not fucking with a Lucifer Samurai like that. I take offense. I take offense. You know what? I'm leaving this platform. Y'all not seeing me. Y'all. But hey, I fuck with Sakamoto Days too, so I wouldn't mind actually covering that too. So shout out to all of y'all. Make sure, please. I know we should have said this at some point. Please can like the video. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Check us out, especially on Twitch. We are we live streaming on Twitch right now too?
I did not today. I did not do that today.
You know what? This man make me look like a fool. Forget everything I said. Just like, subscribe, support us on all platforms. You know how we do. I'm completely down with covering Sakamoto Days from now on to replace Black Clover. It's I've been enjoying it, and I actually have that pre-ordered too. I think volume one drops next month, April, and I have the first three volumes pre-ordered. So that's another one that I enjoy. So yeah, I'm down for that. Appreciate all you guys
Yes.
for voting.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for voting, the support. If you also don't follow us on social media, twitter.com/anime lately, that's where you find the brand name, and that's where you can find all the current votes that we actually guys, news, updates of the channel, and updates of the content wise. And yes, Alvis, we highly suggest for you to read Sakamoto Days. If you read the first three chapters, you continue to love it. The art, the story is good, and the spreads are amazing as well. So it's a series that we might be reviewing. I will let the team know of what a lot of people did vote on. I'll take a screenshot and see what happens. But
If
Abe,
I was going to give you a pitch for why you should read Sakamoto Days, a very short pitch, this is what I would say. Sakamoto Days is pleasantly misleading in the sense that you expect it to be a very wholesome, cute kind of family story of a man who's just out here trying to live his best life with his family. Similar to what you would expect with Way of the House Husband, right? Yeah, except we get a good amount of action and actual story. Like, don't be fooled now. Don't be fooled now. My man may be working at a grocery store with his family, but we get hands. We see fights. We see people die.
Yes. Those hands, those
Like,
hands be coming out.
yo, so if you fucking love action, if you love interesting story, if you love fun, eccentric, quirky characters, oh yeah, keep that shit. Keep that shit. Or if you want to wait until we start covering it, because I mean we'll probably do an overall general recap of the first 50 chapters. I don't know how we'll go about that, but we'll definitely do a general recap and then just dive in. And if you want to dive in with us at that point, definitely go for it because that should be enjoyable as hell.
Agree.
So shout out to all those who fuck with Sakamoto Days.
Agree. So Abe, like you spoke to the people, to the fans of Twitch and everything, where can people find you?
You can find me honestly everywhere. I'm existing on in some shape or fashion. So find me on Twitch at Prince underscore A Lawal, ALAWAL. I am a streamer. I I've been playing a lot of Dead by Daylight. I actually am going to stream in a couple hours today. I'm going to play a different game just to give Dead by Daylight a break. I've been so obsessed. But I also play Smite. I play. I'm adding Fortnite back into the
Oh,
rotation.
Fortnite? Oh, shit.
After so many years, I re-downloaded Fortnite. That's coming back into the
Hey,
rotation.
if you want to play Apex, I'll play with you Apex. Fortnite,
Nah,
I don't know
Apex be
about.
fucking me up, dog. I be getting my ass beat. Apex is sweaty as shit. They be beating my ass. That I people have made me delete Apex twice.
I'll
I'm
play
cool.
Fortnite, but I
I'm
will only
over
be
it now.
good at shooting. So I'll play with you, but I'm not good at the.
Look,
I'm not good
I
at the
was
whole building and the whole structure.
me neither. I can give you if you give me 10 minutes, I'll give you 4 walls and a roof. I will definitely do that for you. Give me 10 minutes. But it seems like
That's me. I'm just
Fortnite
good at
isn't as
shooting. That's
sweaty as
it.
it used to be. Yeah. But yeah, you can find me on Twitch. Yeah, I'm known as the Mad Prince over there. I'm known as a lot of things over there on Twitch. Please don't believe everything you hear. Um, you can find me on Twitter, same handle, Prince underscore ALAWAL. Uh, you can find me on Spotify under the Ocean A podcast. It's been on hiatus so far in 2022, but it should be making a return most likely next month, and we're going to get back to our roots in terms of how we share our shit. Of course, anime lately every Sunday and Thursday. You can check them out. Careful for spoilers every Friday. Um, Spicy Lady Gaming, please check her out on Twitch. She's a W streamer, big time. We love Spicy Lady over here. MemoryNK Mixer, they dropped an episode the last few weeks of the Crunchyroll Awards. So go peep that. I know if you listen to anime lately, they did their own as well. So check out MemoryNK Mixers here there. But they are also on a short hiatus. Really, everybody's just so busy with life. What other projects am I involved in? Yeah, if you love all sports, check out Osen Abe, and from there you'll see more podcasts. Like I'm part of a basketball podcast and shit. At this
Yeah.
point, what don't I do? Check
All
out
of
Shade of
Abe's.
Red.
Oh yeah,
Check out
Shade of Red
Shade of
too.
Red.
All
Definitely
of
go keep up
Abe's
to
links
date.
are down below in the link tree. That's where you can find
Yeah.
him and his handles, his podcast, In the Mind of the
Oh,
Bird.
apparently I have a TikTok now.
That's too. You do have a TikTok too, yeah.
I deleted the old one and made a new one. I actually have to go add some more videos to it. So follow me on TikTok. I forget the handle, but it's in my link tree. So if you can find my link tree, you can find all my shit.
Awesome.
But yeah. So the Mad Prince, Son of Dark Side, Kang Variant, Laburu himself. Y'all know the vibes.
And you guys can find me at LegendDVash everywhere else. I appreciate you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If you like what we do, if you like what we talk about, if you like us and the team itself, please enjoy our content and just share it to your friends, your families, to your grandmother, to your uncle, to your long lost brother or sister around the world. So share it. This is how you guys could connect to each other and just reunite as a family. We are all the nakama. And lastly, if you are a Star Wars fan, go check out the Careful Spoilers channel tomorrow. Not sure what time I'll drop it, probably 9 or 10 a.m. EST. So definitely a Star Wars content will be dropping tomorrow on the Careful Spoilers channel. So please go check that out. It's myself and Chris, roughly less than 40 minutes long. And if you guys want more of that, comment down below, because that'd be lovely to know that you guys want more content of Star Wars. If you guys could possibly get that like twice a month, but it's all on you guys and your feedback. I appreciate that very much, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.